now we're actually down to our final segment for today's Learning Festival. Time really flies. So for our final segment, last but not least, we have Mr. Jeremy Ho, who will be sharing with us more on what exactly is EAP and does it really work. So Mr. Jeremy is the Center Manager of Aventis Center for Wellness and Organizational Psychology, and he was also the Project Manager of Singapore Planned Families Association, where he co-founded a mental wellness and counseling mobile application to help pioneer and promote anonymous text counseling. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Jeremy and his sharing on what is EAP and how it benefits organizations to promote well-being at the workplace. Mr. Jeremy, please.
Thank you, Carmen. Everybody can hear me, right? Yeah, anyways, let me test the screen first. Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you, Carmen, and thank you everyone for being here. We are very grateful, especially to those who have stayed since 2 o'clock. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. So thanks for coming to this festival. Thanks for attending this last segment. I assure you that if you set aside 15 minutes of your time, we are going to have a great time of learning. Eventually, we will not only learn what is beneficial to us, but also beneficial to our own organization out there, because EAP is for your organization or even your own, business startup. So welcome to Aventis Center. My name is Jeremy. All right, you can see my email, you can see my WhatsApp there. So feel free to actually contact me after the event or anytime when you feel that you have any questions about EAP. Okay, so welcome to Adventist Wellness, in long form, Adventist Center for Wellness and Organizational Psychology. Okay, so as the slides go on, all right, you can feel free to actually scan the QR code and ask some questions. All right, later we'll have some time for Q&A as well. So if you can see here, right, the first slide I have here is actually basically our logo. I take two logos, then I combine them. A plus A is M lah. Okay, so M, what we're going to do, right, the first word we're going to share is manpower. So manpower, all right, we are all manpower. Just want to share, we are all manpower. I myself am manpower. If you're an ED or if you are a CEO, you are also manpower. All right, if you are a person who is working at Subway, KFC, we are all manpower as well. All right, so manpower is comes from the word man. All right, and it comes from the word human also. Okay, so basically when there's human issues. Just want to quickly share. And when human issues happen, workplace issues happen as well. So just a few issues out here. First issue will be mental and emotional well-being issues. Very common. Sometimes we go through stress. Sometimes we are overwhelmed. We are filled with anxiety. We are filled with depression. We are filled with different kind of issues, which we may require therapy for, which may require, like other kind of trainings, coachings. All right. So other than that, we also have conflict management issues. Conflict management issues being like, you see this very often. You see this supervisor arguing with the employee, the subordinate, or you see this colleague versus colleague, or the manager versus the director level. So issues at the workplace, conflict issues, how to resolve them, they are very common, and they are also a manpower issue. Third issue is talent acquisition. HRs, y'all can resonate. All right, it's hard to acquire talent. It's also hard to retain talent. How to maintain my talent? How to maintain this staff? They are so outperforming, they are so underperforming. How to retain and how to actually acquire them is an issue as well. Fourth issue is equity. Equity being like whether I as an employee, right, feel treated equally, treated fairly. And inclusion meaning like, I as an employee, do I feel the sense of purpose? Do I feel the calling to actually work hard for this organization? Equity and inclusion are also manpower issues. And lastly, we just have performance management. It's hard to find that balance, whether you have a very overworking culture or very underworking culture. It's hard to find that performance management balance. And as managers, it's hard to actually manage your subordinates. And therefore, manpower issues are very, very prevalent here. Okay, the second word, right, I want to quickly share, right, doesn't start with M. It starts with E. So the second word is actually empower. But how do we empower people, right? Very simply, today you attended the 2 o'clock festival, and we thank you so much for being here. We thank you for actually hearing and psycho-educating yourself as well. All right, so we empower you guys with 3 talks. All right, Anil shared at 2 o'clock psychological first aid. In a gist, in a summarized synopsis, is actually basically regulating yourself so that you can regulate others, being aware of your surroundings, all right, empathizing with your other people, and also maybe eventually taking care of them, being your own care ambassadors. That's very important as well. Okay, overcoming stress and anxiety. All right, just now Angie shared that. Mindfulness as well by Irene. Very useful breathing techniques, etc. Practical handles, and that is called empowerment. So we empower ourselves, and it's also our responsibility. Great Q&A just now by Pamela as well. It's really our own responsibility as well. Not only just our organization as well, but the empowerment also comes from our own ownership. So that is the second word, and that is kind of what a gist of what EAP does. All right. So basically, Employee Assistance Program. EAP stands for Employee Assistance Program. All right. It's an employee benefits program that is provided by a company. So in this case, your organization that will actually help yourselves and ourselves to actually resolve your own issues to impact. All right. To impact our lives better and improve our well-being, right? Most often, right, done by a third party. So who is the third party EAP provider? Most often it's, all right, your other EAP providers, which you can find online, especially in Singapore. Adventist Wellness ourselves are also an EAP provider. Okay, and lastly, what do you usually see, right, in an EAP program? Very quickly, you'll see corporate trainings, you'll see bespoke talks, and you'll see individual counseling. Corporate trainings, you guys have heard of many of it. You guys have seen Aventis brochure, which we can actually send to you. All right. And bespoke talks, this is the one that we need to emphasize on. We have a lot of corporate trainings. We have a lot of other stuff out there. You can find online as well. But we need to acknowledge, right, that our fields are different. We all come from different organizations. Some are, over here, you guys are, some may come from the healthcare sector. Some may come from the engineering sector, the business, the finance sector, and all these sectors have different issues. And that is why bespoke is so important. Bespoke actually helps you accommodate your issues, and we can come in and we can accommodate to your issues, and then we provide the EAP that way. And that is why bespoke actually integrates corporate trainings compared to other kind of trainings. Okay, so individual counseling is also very simple. I will actually brief through how we can do that in the next slide and how usually EAP does that for you guys as well. So how is EAP done for you? And this actually works for other EAP providers also, just to share a bit of knowledge about EAP to you guys. Usually, you'll be able to actually check out the wellness trainings and the list of trainings that actually has been popular and has been in demand. All right. And then eventually, this is the most important thing, you need to consult the EAP provider. So for us, we do consultations. We do it complimentarily. We actually talk to your HR managers. We actually talk to your superiors. And eventually we talk about like, what are your organization's needs? Is there a common trend, or if you want to actually emphasize different kind of trends, for example, this month, according to the mental health calendar, was more on sleep awareness, right? So we have organizations coming in talking about, I want to do something to actually talk about like proper sleeping strategy so that my own staff, right, can have a proper work from home schedule as well. So those are very common. What we do is we consult and eventually we plan and set the dates, time, and structure. So eventually EAP is done in a seamless manner, and we do it and we guide along your organization. All right, and very simply, individual counseling is also very simple. You tell us the number of staff that you want to actually bring to our organization, knowing that it's anonymous, okay? So you just tell us like, oh, for example, 50 staff from your organization would actually appreciate counseling services. All right, get them to sign up on our platform, assuring them that your organization will not be able to know or track who are they. All right, you will only be able to actually understand the efficacy rates. We actually will be actually sharing with you how Aventis Wellness churn out reports through anonymous surveying to actually improve your organization's mental health. All right. After that, upon successful registration, we will actually grant them credits. We'll grant them credits on their own account to actually redeem at their own timing, right? The counseling sessions. So what has been working at Adventist Wellness? Very simple. This is one of our testimony from our clientele, Merck. All right, they are actually a US-based company, pharmaceutical industry one, more on the medical kind of resources. From over 1,000 plus of our clientele from the corporate training side, all right, Merck is one of them who at least works with us for 7 programs in a year. That shows how effective they feel and how beneficial they feel that actually mental well-being talks and trainings, plus the psychotherapy stuff and the counseling stuff, impacts their staff. All right, so it's pretty amazing to also see that there's some top and popular wellness trainings out there. You guys have heard already, just now 2 o'clock, psychological first aid, mindfulness, and of course some stress and management, anxiety kind of control. Some other trending stuff are positive psychology, workplace psychology, and also finding your purpose. All right, ikigai is the Japanese word for purpose. Okay, so later we will be actually going through the Q&A, so you can actually ask your questions back then, and eventually we will actually do our best to actually answer them. Okay, so these are our facilities just for Adventist Wellness. Take a look. It's at Concord Hotel, Level 3. And all EAP providers have their own counseling rooms also. So your staff can actually, find it beneficial. They can come down and they can actually receive therapy from our own counselors, our group of counselors. All right. Or we usually do full day programs at Holiday Inn. So it's just a few minutes walk also from Concord Hotel. And the Holiday Inn actually provides very, very nice training facilities, especially for the full day programs. We have refreshments as well. So take a look at that. But now, I just wanted to ask a quick question, and you guys can actually type it in the chat box, right? So just for 1 minute, right? Can you guys out of the back of your head, right? Just tell us lah, what's the importance of EAP so far? Okay, what is the importance of EAP so far? Just 1 minute, no wrong answer. Just type it in your chat. Why do you feel EAP might be important for yourself? All right, so that your organization can implement it. All right, Elizabeth says staff retention. Correct. Turnover rate is definitely an issue, and EAP does actually address that. Rachel says for employees to be comfortable to open up. Correct also. We do know that mental health is a stigma. Until now, it's still a stigma. And we'll actually be going through why is it such a stigma within the Asian countries especially. Not so much within the Westerns, okay? Padma says well-being, correct? George says talent retention. Yep, same as Elizabeth. Yvonne says stressful environment, definitely. Stressful environments can be addressed when the workplace actually emphasizes a proper work culture. Ben says helps the mental wellness and overall well-being of employees to improve the work culture. Definitely. Thank you, Ben. Anina says boost employees morale. Correct. 10 years series reply, Anina. Very good. Okay, so thanks for all the initiation. Eventually, this is what I want to share. COVID-19 and employee mental health in Singapore. All right, just a quick article. This is by the CNA. Okay, according to recent findings, employees are getting more frustrated at work. Very common, right? All right, they are suffering from mental health issues. They're suffering from burnout, impairment, emotional, physical exhaustion, etc., etc. And it's hard. The most important thing, it's hard for the staff right now, you and I, to actually meet constant changes and demands. All right, without proper care, without proper workplace culture, without proper welfare. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly share how does EAP actually help your organization? How does it help your own business as well? Firstly, EAP is proven to help your well-being, your mental well-being. Okay, so you guys got it correct, your mental well-being. Morale also correct. Anina, good job. Okay, reduce staff turnover, correct. Retention, staff turnover is so common. All right, you guys have heard some of your friends work as social workers. You can always hear them complaining, wow, casework is stress, documentation even more stress, etc., etc. Too much caseload lah. Or you also can see this very commonly in people who work at shifts. All right, shifts, nurses especially, so high overwhelming stress until government need to actually encourage people to volunteer as a nurse. So you definitely know that EAP is actually a important factor here. I just want to emphasize hospitals, nurses, they themselves have in-house counseling. They themselves have an in-house wellness center. All right. And I also want to emphasize a school. Let's just picture a school. How often do we see the students utilizing school counselors? How often do we see the nurses actually going for these wellness talks, wellness trainings? It's still a very big, heavy stigma. So this is why third-party expertise can be useful. And that is why EAP can be useful as well. Okay, what else? It actually helps reduce costs, all right, due to poor performance. Sometimes we have staff that actually feel very overwhelmed and they go on long breaks, all right? These kind of things can be inevitable sometimes. So eventually, what do the managers do? They hire outsource, they hire freelancers, and then they pay more money to actually incur losses lah. They pay more money because eventually your company has to keep up that competency rate. So eventually EAP actually helps you reduce that cost, because if you emphasize proper well-being, your staff wouldn't feel so overwhelmed at that certain season. So balance and pacing is so important, and EAP actually educates your organization that way. Okay, boost productivity, very essential. Create a positive workplace culture. This is the number one key thing. EAP is trying to solve that, and it is proven to actually have great data, which will be shown in the next slide. And lastly, discourage absenteeism and presenteeism. Basically, underworking and overworking. We need to find a fine balance, all right? Because for a culture to be effective, we need to have balance as well. So now, question is, how proven is EAP? Because Singaporeans, right, I mean, I'm just putting out there, straightforward. Singaporeans, we haven't really heard of EAP. Only maybe 3 years ago when the pandemic happened, right, suddenly, oh, okay, my organization trying to promote mental health, my organization trying to promote some positivity in our lives. All right, so this is just a quick NCBI research based off the 1970s. All right, so you can kind of calculate, EAP, right, is quite a Western model. All right, and it's been around, right, on the world already for 50 plus years already. So right now, why Singapore so late? We also question ourselves, okay, this research sampled over 10 organizations. The outcome were pretty cool. All right, the first and two outcomes were more on like decreasing the cost in sickness and disability. All right, so you guys have heard of this word, it's called chowking. All right, chowking basically means fake an illness, fake a sickness, so you can actually escape duties, correct? But most of the time, it's not chowking. Most of the time, it's real. When staff are so overwhelmed, I'm pretty sure you have heard from the previous trainings just now, the previous talks, right? Scientifically proven, it is actually very bad for your immune system when you're so overwhelmed with stress and workload, and there is no proper outlet to actually recover and have some time for yourselves. Eventually, you will fall ill, you will fall sick, and therefore your organization may have to pay for your medical fees. They also have to pay for your hospitalization fee if there's a critical incident or accident. For example, assaults, for example, griefs and loss, and etc., etc. All right, or maybe even you lose a limb or stuff like that. All right, workplace incidents. So that is why EAP comes in and eventually prevents and reduces these kind of activities. All right, so 81% also more participative behaviors. Just now we talked about the manpower issue. All right, equity and inclusion. Inclusion being participation also. So when you have a great workplace culture, eventually your employees, right? Your employees and your staff will actually participate more. They will feel a sense of purpose to actually do, not only because of occupation, but also because of purpose and the calling. So therefore, they actually feel treated equally, treated fairly, and definitely they will be treated, in a more inclusive manner. Last one, reduction in underworking behaviors. We can see this a lot when someone is demotivated and have no morale. So thank you guys. You guys have a gist. All right. So the next article will be just more recent. Now it's 2022. 2014 EAP survey was conducted by this organization called Optum. All right, our mentor, Dr. Christopher Fong, actually gave us this survey to actually share with you guys. The findings were quite remarkable. They showed that within their clientele, they are also an EAP provider, and they eventually managed to actually find out the reduction in stress and accident levels. Through implementing EAP, their clientele voiced out that they have at least 50% reduction in stress and accident levels, all right, among their staff. So that's quite cool. Improved mental health also 78%, because the staff actually utilize the services, the counseling services especially. They use it, they pace it out themselves. The therapists walk through with them. Eventually, through counseling therapy, they actually feel more, they feel more purposeful and also feel more regulated. All right. Third finding is actually improve morale, which is very consistent. You can see that in EAP kind of actually improves the morale, productivity, and the relationships also. Conflict management is so common, but actually how to really avoid a conflict and how to win one is another issue. Okay. And the last one, this one, money talks, all right, up to 14 pounds, right? Because this Optum actually did their currency in pounds, up to 14 pounds back for every £1. So you can see, right, for every dollar that they invested in EAP, they actually, right, the organization had a profit in the sense whereby they actually spend money on EAP, and eventually they realized that they didn't need to pay money for like medical fees other kind of accident kind of fees, because why? The workplace culture is set and refined, and eventually the employees actually feel beneficial and feel purposeful to actually stay in an organization. They wouldn't need to chowking, or they wouldn't really need to feel sick and tired of life. Okay, this one, a quick article just for you to run through. This is by the Buck Consultants at 2012. All right. They just want to show that stress is currently the top ranked issue. All right. For all kind of other issues, right? Stress. And you can see the column here, right? Asia, right? Under Asia, stress is ranked third. And stress alone, right, is a major comorbid factor in exacerbating other health problems, such as, injuries, infections, substance abuse. We all know that some of our colleagues also have substance abuse. It may not be drugs, but it could be other things. It could be smoking. It could be other harmful and irrational behaviors. So stress is really quite the root of actually poor mental health as well. So very quickly, I just want to share EAP's approach to actually increase your positive mental health. All right. So this is Adventist Wellness One, which is very common to other EAP providers as well. Firstly, we focus more on prevention and early detection. Nowadays, you can see Singapore government, just want to share with you guys that they actually promote early detection and prevention instead and compared to intervention. Out there are so many kinds of intervention right now, but the best kind of solution would be actually to avoid going to that stage 2. So we keep it at stage 1. We always want to make sure that we can prevent it and we can early detect the issues for your staff, and eventually we can provide EAP effectively that way. All right. We also focus on the 8 dimensions of wellness, from intellectual, financial, occupational, all the way to physical. And we also focus more on affordability. Out there are many other EAP providers, but you guys can contrast the cost, and then you guys can actually measure the benefits and see what is useful for your organization. All right. At Adventist Wellness, we are also non-judgmental. It's safe, it's secure. We also focus more on data-driven and measurable outcomes. If you guys know, AW is connected to ALG, which is Aventislearning Group and the Adventist Graduate School. And our motto is also to empower a smarter workforce. So using AI and measure outcomes, actually we use with the anonymous surveying of your own staff that comes for EAP. We actually provide you solutions forward, not just normal reports, but actually solutions that actually takes your employees' mental health right to the next level, or improve other kind of solutions and other kind of workplace issues as well. All right. And lastly, we focus on building a supportive community with the Aventis family and you guys. So why choose AW, right? I mean, I've kind of actually shared with the other slides already, but I just want to focus on data accountability. We actually ensure privacy and confidentiality. All your staff who attend our therapy sessions are kept confidential and anonymous. All right. Your employer wouldn't know that you actually are attending therapy with us. All right. But through your own discretion, you can actually participate in the anonymous surveying, which we will have a chat bot, and we will also have a mobile app that is coming up soon, eventually actually allowing you to participate if you wish to actually feedback anonymously to your organization, so that we can actually churn reports to improve your whole organization's workplace culture, which is not really done out there by other EAP providers. So that is quite interesting, and that is something that you may want to look into. So just before I show you our team, right, our call to action is very simple. A post-event form will be sent to your email that you use to register this event. And eventually in the form, you'll be able to indicate whether your organization will be interested in a private consultation. And we can, of course, call our EAP mentor, Dr. Christopher Fong, to join. And me and him can actually consult your organization's HR head, your organization's managers out there, and we can see how we can actually work together to provide you guys and your staff with a proper EAP program out there that will actually benefit your well-being. Okay, so further inquiries, right? You can actually scan this QR code. I'm going to give you some time. This is my personal WhatsApp work phone. You can actually ask questions to me if you want to wish. If you are just a staff also, if you want to realize that how your organization can come about, you can also WhatsApp me, and I'll be actually more than delighted to actually attend to your request. At the same time, feel free to scan the QR code for our social media as well. Follow us for updates, follow us for onboarding kind of information as well. And our Facebook page actually posts the same thing as the Instagram as well. So thank you so much for your time. This is our team. We have more than these qualified and esteemed trainers. So feel free to reach back out to us so that we can actually find the qualified trainer for your specific workplace issue, and we can do an EAP that way as well. So we have Dr. Christopher Fong, we have Edwin Sim, and we have many others. Okay. So Q&A time. Please ask some questions so that I can do my best to actually answer your questions, especially now coming from an employee perspective, right? It's not easy to ask these questions, I know, but do enlighten us with your questions, all right, if you have. So I'm just going to give some time. Carmen, we can actually answer the questions.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Jeremy, for the amazing sharing. So actually we did just now I did see that some questions that came in already. Okay, great. Let's take the first question. Someone's asking, how do we sign up for the Aventis EAP program? So essentially it's the Employee Assistance Program. Yep, Jeremy?
Yeah, very simple, seamless onboarding, right? So to sign up for the Adventist EAP program, right, you can definitely WhatsApp me, number one. Number two, if you don't remember any other kind of information, I'm going to type in our website here, Aventiswellness.com, fill up the EAP form, and eventually I will actually get in contact with you, and it will be quite seamless. We'll actually schedule a consultation and we'll go out for it. If you are an individual who just wants to request for individual counseling, feel free to also go to our website, and eventually you can do the same process. You can purchase the credits that way, and then you can redeem your therapy sessions that way as well.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy, for that. Yes, so I think in a moment's time, my team will actually be sharing Jeremy's contact details in the Zoom chat, so that you can feel free to get in touch with Jeremy if you're interested to find out more regarding EAP for your company. All right. Our next question is: do you offer counseling and referrals only, or also manager training on how to support an employee in crisis?
Correct. All right. We offer counseling, we offer referrals as well. Manager training on how to spot an employee in crisis. Yeah, this is so timely. If you guys know, actually psychological first aid can be actually bespoke and integrated into this kind of training for your organization. So based on the consultation, when we actually talk to your supervisors and we talk to your wellness team, right, and your wellness department, right, we can eventually schedule a training, and we can talk to you who will be the best fit trainer for your this kind of training for your employee. And this is very common. This is actually very commonly done by EAP providers. I just wanted to quickly answer Sophia's question, Sophia Ho. All right, what kind of timeline are we looking at for an EAP to be effective? Timeline can be very subjective. All right, timelines can include 1 year and stuff like that. But what we actually encourage and what we would recommend is that we would say that we organize within a yearly setting, that we can actually organize specific trainings for your specific staff. And the credits also, the counseling credits also expires within 1 year. So usually from there, we do a renewal system. So usually EAP providers do a yearly basis kind of service agreement. Unless you want to do 3-year, 4-year bond, also very highly encouraged, and we'll be happy to do with your company as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Jeremy. I believe we have time for just a final question. Okay, let's take this question. Does the EAP provider offer a separate wellness program that features webinars or lunch and learns? Jeremy, please.
Does the EAP provider offer a separate wellness program? Yeah, I mean, we do that. We definitely do. As in, like, if this question is addressing an individual, yeah, you can check out workshops. Aventislearning group has a brochure that we will be sending to you guys as well. The individual public workshops. But if you're talking as an organization as a whole, yes, we also do that. The answer is yes. And Padma also says, is this course finding your ikigai for individuals? It is for individuals because it's more for your own internal purpose for increasing your equity and your inclusion rates also for your organization. But it also can be done in a bespoke manner whereby we can actually teach and we can train your own company as well for specific departments, so that we can actually have it's mainly done in full day programs, half day programs, and lunch and learns. So Padma, yes, it's also done that way.
Thank you so much, Erin, for that. So I guess just to add on to address that question. Yep. So actually, we also do in-house trainings for companies as well. It covers lunch and learn. It covers full day workshops. Depending on the preferred duration. So we are able to do bespoke lunch and learn programs, or even in-house training where the trainer goes over to your premise. We can do different variations as well. So feel free to get in touch with us at Adventist Learning or Adventist Wellness, and we're very happy to address all of them together with you as well. Okay, great. So I think we can actually wrap up the segment for this, so that we're able to, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for sharing for the really insightful sharing, as well as to address all the Q&As as well. The rest that have not been answered, not to worry, we will be sharing more details about where you can find the answers later on as well. Okay, so we have come to the end of the Workplace Mental Wellness Learning Festival. I think time really flies. It's already close to 5 p.m. So for those who have stayed on with us from the beginning until the end, there's about 200 of you, and we're really very thankful. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We hope today's event has provided you with a higher level of awareness, as well as to be educated on the importance and the value of workplace mental wellness. We also like to take the time to especially thank all of our speakers for their really amazing sharings, really valuable sharings, tips, techniques, and also even guiding us through the practices or doing mindfulness, and also to understand the power of breath, things like that. And also to thank our event partner, Great Place to Work Singapore, for their tremendous support for today's Learning Festival. If you have any feedback for us with regards to today's event, things that we did well, things that we could further improve, please do let us know by scanning the QR code that is now flashed in front of you on the screen right now, and let us know your feedback. Earlier on, we also did mention that the questions that were not answered in the Q&A sessions will be answered on our Facebook page next week. So remember to connect with us on Facebook and stay tuned for the answers to your burning questions that will be addressed next week. And also, there were many participants who were asking and checking with my team if the recording for today's session will be made available. The good news is that yes, we will be uploading the recording of our Learning Festival to our YouTube channel sometime next week as well. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Aventislearning to rewatch any segment that you may have missed or just want to get a catch up on. Last but not least, I was told to share an inside scoop with everyone. If you enjoyed our Learning Festival today, good news, because we've already begun planning our next Learning Festival, scheduled to take place next quarter in the month of June or July. So stay tuned and look forward to hearing from us on the theme, the finalized theme for our next Learning Festival. Thank you once again to everyone who joined us today, and we really look forward to seeing you at our next Learning Festival. In the meantime, do stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you, everyone.